Hey, welcome to the Nursing Dose with your host, Farah, aka Dr. Laurent. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about what is keeping you stuck and how you're blocking yourself from growing and how you can go from stuck to really unstoppable. So, this episode really is for any nurse that is watching, whether you're a nursing student, a new graduate nurse, an experienced nurse, anyone that is looking to pivot, right? Looking for their next position that is in alignment with their values and what it is that you want to do. Or a nurse that maybe is tired of working bedside or maybe is looking to do something more, make more of an impact, and to really be fulfilled in the work that you do. So, why are you feeling stuck? You're feeling stuck for multiple reasons. So, number one can be your lack of clarity. So, I just dropped a newsletter this morning talking about the need for clarity and really to have really specific goals about what it is that you want. So, that means in all aspects of your life, from your career to your personal life to finances, spiritually, whatever it is, you need to have specific goals and you need to know what it is that you want. If you are not clear on those goals, it's going to be very hard to get what it is that you want. All right. So, the first thing that I want to touch upon is mindset. So, for those who don't know me and you're just coming on, I would say, please let me know where you're watching from, what city you're watching from, what country. And if you happen to be watching the replay, same thing. Put down any comments or questions that you may have. And for those who don't know me, I've been a nurse for over 20 years. What I do is I help new graduate nurses in the New York and California area land their dream job in less than 90 days, making all the way up to 175K, really being in alignment with what it is that they want to do as a new nurse. Because if you're watching and you're a new nurse, I know a lot of you have graduated and you've been told either the wrong thing or you've been guided incorrectly. People are telling you, just take any job, settle for anything. I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do that. You can get what you want. You just need to get clear on what that is and how to get there. So that's one part of what I do. The other aspect of what I do is I help aspiring nurse entrepreneurs and nurse entrepreneurs really build their brand, their visibility, so that they can get more opportunities and attract more clients so that they can make more money, right? To make more money moves so that they can really do what it is that they want to do. So I'm hosting a business mastermind. I'm going to drop that information later in Clearwater Beach for those aspiring nurse entrepreneurs and nurse entrepreneurs who are interested in attending. That's going to be July 31st, August 1st, and 2nd. So I'll drop that info below. So back to what I was talking about mindset. How can you go from being stuck to being unstoppable? It really, truly all starts with mindset and goal setting. You need to get clarity on what it is that you want to do. And how do you do that? You really have to do a lot of inner work, a lot of reflection, and drown out a lot of the outside noise. So for nursing students and new grads, you're going to have clinical instructors, professors, family members pushing you to a certain direction because they might say, hey, you graduated, you just need to get a job. Hey, you should start in med surg, you should start in the hospital. You're going to get a lot of things. Or your friends might tell you, hey, you can't get into the ICU. You can't get into emergency. You can't get into labor delivery. You need to start in this area so that you can get to where you want to be later. You can't get to where you want to be just yet. Well, who told you that, right? That is the wrong advice. So don't listen to that. My story is I actually started out in the emergency department despite everybody telling me that I couldn't be an ER nurse as a nursing student, as a new grad. So of course, I did not listen to that because I was very clear and in alignment with my vision, my values, and my goals. And I knew that is where I was meant to be. And no one could tell me otherwise. And that's what I got because I was obsessed with that vision, that goal, and I knew that it was meant for me, right? So whether you're doing it through prayer, through reflection, manifesting, whatever that is, you need to get clear on what it is that you want and drown out the other noise. And sometimes you may need a little guidance, and that's what I do as a nurse career coach. I don't tell my clients where they should be. I simply help them unpack what it is that they're going through. So a lot of my clients come to me, they're not sure what they want. So I help guide them towards that so that they can land those um, specialty positions, whether it's in the hospital, in the community, wherever that is, so that they can be in alignment so that you can be happy. So what happens is a lot of new nurses will settle just for any job. And they have this desperate mentality where, like, oh my goodness, I graduated a month ago or 2 months ago, and I need a job. All my friends have a job, and I need just to get any job. Wrong. That's the worst thing that you can do because what happens is you're going to put all your energy in getting just any job. It's going to take about 3 months. You're going to get into that position. You're going to go through orientation, which can take another, let's say, 2-3 months, depending where you go, or maybe even up to 6 months if you're in more highly specialized areas such as the ICU or the OR. And then you might realize, oh my goodness, I hate this. I'm miserable. I don't like it. And that's okay. But then you're going to have to go back and really do more reflection and to get to where you want to be. So why not eliminate all that and just do the work in the beginning, invest in a nurse career coach like myself that can guide you and help you save time so you can get to where you want to be, right? That is the first thing that you should do because I see too many nurses wanting to just get any job. In fact, I just talked to a nurse today from California, and she's just such in a rush to get a job, but she doesn't really need it financially. Yes, you want to be positioned in a way that you can be able to start making some income and generate income, but you don't want to just take any job. So now what she's doing is looking at areas that she's not really quite interested in, but she just wants to just get any job. And I was, kind of walking her through that. And I'm sure a lot of you nursing students are listening right now or new grads, and you're like, oh, but what should I do? I need a job. You just have to assess the situation. If financially, you can wait about a month or 2 months until maybe that residency program opens up that you really want, and prepare yourself and position yourself for success. Start getting the certifications that you need. So for example, a lot of new nurses come to me because they're interested in women's health. So whether it's postpartum, labor and delivery, I get a lot of requests for that. And also critical care areas such as the emergency department, the ICU. So what I do is I direct them to positioning themselves for success and really preparing them with certifications that they need to get in these areas. And I know a lot of people say, well, I don't want to spend the money to get ACLS or to get NRP or to join some of these associations because you're like, oh, I'll just wait till I get hired. But guess what? If there are 2 resumes or 2 candidates, let's say for L&D, this one right here has ACLS, NRP, part of A1, and they have fetal heart monitoring, and this other candidate doesn't, who do you think is going to get the interview and potentially land the job offer? Obviously, the one that's more ambitious, that has everything that they need, and that they're positioning themselves for success. They're investing in themselves so that they could stand out. So that's what I do. So you need to get really clear on what it is that you want. Start building out the roadmap to how to get there. And that's something that I help my clients do so that they don't have to do it on their own, so that you can be clearly on your way to get what you want to do. A lot of nurses that I speak to, a lot of new grads and nursing students, what they'll do is start applying to multiple jobs, any and every job. So they're applying for psych, NICU, L&D, critical care. So imagine being a recruiter and you get all these applications. Let's say you're in one health system, all these applications for this one candidate. Of course, that's going to cause confusion because you're going to be like, what does this person really want? And then it could potentially stop you from being interviewed. So you are blocking yourself from actually getting what you want by not being clear and just applying for what it is that you really want. And again, I talk about this all the time. You attract what you obsess over, right? What you think about. So if you know that you're going to be a critical care nurse or an L&D nurse, you are very sure down to your cells, like, this is where I belong. For me, it was emergency medicine. I was like, that's it. That's where I belong, the emergency department. There's nothing else. So that is what I attracted. But if you're unclear, you are in this desperation mode and your mindset is not right, you are not going to attract the right opportunities. And what's going to happen is you're going to get rejection after rejection after rejection because you are confused and you're putting it out there, and that's what you're getting back. And you're not going to get what you want. So that's why I talk about stop blocking yourself from advancing, from being successful and getting what you want. Right? And a lot of times you feel stuck. You're like, oh, I don't know what to do. And you're like running around in all types of directions because you don't have clarity. Once you have clarity, you're going to have direction. You're going to actually do less to get to where you want to be because the path is very clear. And that's what I help my clients with. Same thing if you are an experienced nurse and maybe you're just tired of the bedside, you want to pivot into something new. Sometimes you can't really see and you need somebody from, let's say, an aerial view to really help you navigate to what it is that you want to do. So that's what I do as a nurse career coach. Another thing is that is blocking you, again, is the scarcity mindset. You're stuck in this mindset. Well, like, I don't know, I'm in a competitive area in the San Francisco Bay. New nurses don't get L&D. They have to work their way up. All these self-limiting beliefs, the scarcity mindset that you can't, it's not the time yet. You are setting up yourself for failure and you're blocking yourself from actually receiving what it is that you want because you're constantly telling yourself negative thoughts. So when I talk about an abundance mindset, you have to have a positive mindset, a positive attitude, and say, yes, it is possible. I can get into L&D. I can get into the community. I can be a psych nurse. Whatever that is, you can do it, right? Same thing in leadership. Some nurses want to get into leadership, but they might have this block in their head. Well, I didn't have this type of experience, so I can't be a leader. You're already stopping yourself from being successful. So stop with the negative scarcity type mindset and start moving into an abundance mindset and get an alignment with what it is that you want. But in order to do that, you need to be clear as to what it is that you want. Same thing with nurses who maybe want to start a business. You need to do the market research, understand what solutions you are bringing. And I highly suggest, if you're interested in a service type business, such as coaching or consulting, it's an easy way to start making more money if you start your own business. So many of us have a lot of certifications, a lot of advanced degrees. We've worked in multiple specialties, whether it's in education, in leadership, or clinically in the community, hospice, wherever you work. You have a lot of intellectual property. You have a lot of knowledge that you can transfer into a business. For me, as a nurse career coach, I saw a gap in the market. Nursing schools do not really have career coaches. They have career services for the general student body, but they don't have, let's say, for their nursing students, a specific nurse career coach, right? And if you're maybe a nursing school administrative, a dean, a director, maybe you need to look into getting a nurse career coach for your school. And that's actually one of my goals is I'm going to be looking into that to see how I can bring my services to nursing schools because they need a nurse who is experienced and specialized in this area to help nurses transition to practice. And, I'm sorry to say, there are some awesome professors, some awesome clinical instructors that are out there, still kind of doing their thing and can be very helpful. However, there are some clinical instructors and professors that maybe haven't been at the bedside for over 10 years or 20 years. So, should they really be guiding you as to what area you should be going into? Probably not if they're not really in touch with what really is going on in today's healthcare system, right? So that's one thing. And then people think, to start a business, a consulting or coaching business, that you need all this money, that you need to have a huge business background. You need an MBA or you need a certification to be a coach. No, you don't. So this is why I recently started my business mastermind. It's called Elevate now because Nurses Making Money Moves was too long. So I decided to name it Elevate, right? And the whole concept behind that is to elevate your mindset, elevate your brand. I talk about personal branding quite a bit, and to elevate your business. So in this mastermind, I teach business basics. I talk about marketing, how to self-promote, and all these things that are foundational in business. And if you think about it, a lot of nurses have the skills that they've learned in nursing. All those skills are transferable to starting a business. And it's not that difficult to register a business, but yes, to be able to attract clients, attract opportunities, it does take some work and effort, but it is possible. And again, it's all about your mindset and how you position yourself for success. And again, you have to have that mentality that you can do anything that you want so you can be unstoppable. So stop thinking that you're stuck and you just need to move towards clarity and do a lot of the reflection of how can I design my life that I want? How can I design my work day that I really want? Who do I enjoy working with? What impact do I want to make? Do I want to make an impact on a state level, on a national level, on a global level? Do I want to be a speaker? Do I, want to educate the public on a specific thing? We need to start thinking much bigger and stop playing small and getting stuck, right, with what we think society wants us to do or putting ourselves in, a little box to say, hey, I can only do this or that. So if you are watching this, I hope this was helpful. I'm going to wrap it up. But really, what is blocking you is yourself. And I would highly suggest not to talk to other people who are negative. It's easy to say, but sometimes you need to switch your circle. Start talking to people who are positive, who are doing things that you aspire to be like. So let's say you want to start a business, then maybe you should talk to someone who already has a business in the field that you want to go into, whether it's consulting or coaching. And like I said, you don't necessarily need all these bells and whistles and I've been a coach for 4 years. I am not board certified in anything. There's a lot of these programs out there that are just taking your money, having you do all these extra things just to get a piece of paper to say that you're certified. Well, guess what? It doesn't really matter. If you want to be board certified, awesome, great in coaching. But do you need it? No, you don't. I've been doing it for almost 4 years. And if you look at my LinkedIn recommendations, you go to my website, I help my clients get results. And that's what you need to learn, right? You don't necessarily need a piece of paper saying that you're certified. So that is my message today, is to get unstuck by really getting clear on the goals that you want. All right. So that's all for me today. If you want to work with me, please message me and direct message me on LinkedIn and schedule a chat or a consultation.